I'd like to thank you for joining today's business advising session on AI for Restaurants Part 2, How to Use ChatGPT version 4.5. This business advising session is being presented by the Illinois Restaurant Association in partnership with the Cook County Small Business Source. Established to ensure businesses emerge from COVID-19 intact and positioned for growth, the Small Business Source connects small business owners with expert guidance and support. Services include no-cost business advising, resources, and events that connect small business owners with a community of advisors. If you're interested in one of our advisors reaching out one-on-one for further business advising, sign up at cookcountysmallbiz.org. It's free and easy to sign up. For today's session, we encourage you to ask questions. We'll have a Q&A session at the end of the presentation. You can either come off of mute and ask your questions or post them in the chat, and we will ask for you. We also have a team from the IRA here today to assist with further questions. At this time, I'd like to introduce our panelists, James Feldman. James, please take it away.
Well, thank you everybody for joining. Let me make sure we've got our slide share working. Can we see the slide?
It looks great.
Perfect. So the first thing is get your computers out and make sure that they are available, because this is going to be an interactive demo and it's going to be most effective for you if you're able to follow along with access to your own ChatGPT model. Don't worry. This is like drinking from a fire hose. There is a lot to cover, and don't worry about going, oh, I can't keep up, because I'm trying to give you as much value as possible. But along with that, I'm going to give you access to this entire presentation so you can go back and check on it, because it will have a lot of things, and it's just going to be hard to write when you're trying to do things on your computer at the same time. So I'm going to talk about what we did last month shortly. I'm going to talk about the latest developments. I'm going to show you implementation strategies and a couple of case studies as we go along. If you have been in the restaurant business, you remember things like the Cuisinart, the sous vide. These were tools that revolutionized how you operated the back of the house. Then you found reservation systems. Then you had credit card. Then you had ways to take the credit card with the guests at the table using a point of sale and a Bluetooth, etc. These are all technological changes that we may have now taken for granted. And yet, as we look at AI, there's a fear. There's a, I'm going to lose my job, or I don't understand it. It's not true. AI is just another tool, and you just need to learn how to use it. Now, as we go through this, your head is going to explode. And I can tell you why. Because you're going to see things, hear things, and go, I didn't know it could do that. But I'm going to give you this presentation with a link to it at the end so that you can go back and review it. So we're going to talk about the overall things that it can do. And the overall things, simply put, anything that you're doing in your restaurant. Now, it won't take out the garbage, it won't wash the dishes. But if we're talking about menu planning, if we're talking about your P&L statements, if we're talking about your social media marketing, if we're talking about reservations, if we're talking about inventory management, it's all there. And along with it, you can enhance the customer experience, because the customer is sitting at your table and has an opportunity to give you instant feedback. And along with that instant feedback, you can give them instant references. So as an example, you can have a link to your wine list. So when they order the filet mignon, you could say, here's 4 or 5 wines that pair nicely with it. That's not to replace the sommelier. That's to use this in a restaurant that either doesn't have a sommelier, or doesn't have an extensive wine list, or doesn't typically have guests that upscale with a, let's say, expensive bottle of wine. They're looking for more of a table bottle of wine. So everything that we talk about here today is customizable. Clearly, AI helps operational efficiency. You name it, it can kind of do it. If you are listening to what I say, there are tips and tools in this presentation that will literally change how you do things back of the house and front of the house. And along with that, you get interactive feedback. It's referred to AI as artificial intelligence. It is not intelligent. Think of it as a scraping machine. It's just going out and grabbing data, bringing it back to you. It's like the old days when you would go to a library and you'd look at an Encyclopedia Britannica or a World Book. There was information there. You had to decide what you were going to do with it. You had to make a decision whether it was valuable to you or not. AI is not going to make that decision for you. And it's getting better and faster every single day. If you attended my first presentation, what has changed in literally 1 month is literally 50 to 80% of what I talked about before is now better, faster, easier to use because millions and millions of users are using ChatGPT and AI tools. ChatGPT has competition, and with competition, there's always the I need to get better at what I do, and that's exactly what ChatGPT has done.
Oh,
Why
Jim,
does it?
sorry, if I can cut in, is there a way to make it full screen? It's like on your desktop, but if you can just like enlarge it a little.
I am so sorry.
No, that's okay. We can see it, just make it a little bigger.
Let's see if that does it. Is that better?
Perfect. Yes. Thanks.
I apologize. I thought,
No,
well,
it
okay.
was still visible, so we're good.
Okay. Is now full screen?
Yes, yes, now it's full
Great.
screen.
Great. Okay. So if we think of this as sort of a simple triangle, we start at the bottom with our customer. We call them guests, we call them patients, we call them whatever language you use. But the general topic, whether you're in the restaurant business, the hotel business, or any other business, is their customers. We may change the label, but they're really customers. And the customers now understand they have a voice. They want an experience. And along with that, we've all seen the challenges. COVID changed the workforce. There's quiet quitting. There's the fact that everybody is trying to grab the better employee. And so they're working for, let's say, restaurant A, and they're getting paid, I'm just picking a number, $20 an hour. And then the next one says, I'll pay you $23 an hour, and that person leaves. So part of what AI can help you do is establish that experience with your employee and at least have some better connectivity rather than they're putting in hours and you're giving them a paycheck. And there's always the competitive edge. If you are not using AI, I promise you your competition is. If you're not using the tools that are out there, I promise you your competition is. Take something as simple as the Cuisinart. The Cuisinart is basically a motor that spins blades. But those blades slice, dice, chop, etc., and they're fast. The same thing happens with AI. There's over 600,000 tools out there, and we're only talking about one, which is ChatGPT. So where did we leave off? We talked about the customer, we talked about menu and marketing, we talked about prompt engineering, we talked about HR and training. I suggest you go back to the first one if you didn't see it, because this section, this next presentation, builds on what I talked about the first time. Straight across the board. You can personalize it, you can assemble knowledge, you can get your workflow adapted, and you can track things. Boom. There's four things right there, and that's sort of an overload when you look at it. Because with ChatGPT, it will learn who you are. It will learn your business. You just need to train it. So stop thinking of ChatGPT and AI as this nefarious terminator. It's out there somewhere in the meta universe. Think of it as a full-time assistant. My assistant is named Mr. Spock. And I talk to Mr. Spock. And I've trained Mr. Spock. And Mr. Spock now understands me. And so in the session that we did before, I showed you how to customize your tools. I will briefly touch on it, but we won't spend a lot of time. But you need to go into your ChatGPT and you need to customize it. Everything that you do is integrated into the real world. This is not just some fun tool or toy. This is a game changer. It is electricity. It is water. It is the internet. Since last month, ChatGPT introduced 4.5, a game changer again. And it now integrates with other tools. And those other tools may be those tools that you're already using, like OpenTable. So if you can have OpenTable integrate with your menu, and that menu can then integrate with the customer experience. And so by the time the customer gets there, you've built an avatar or a profile of that customer that says, this is a gentleman or his family that's allergic to tomatoes. I have a neighbor that's allergic to garlic. Can you imagine being allergic to garlic? And every time he goes to the restaurant, he's got to say, I need you to go back to the chef and make sure that the salad dressing doesn't have garlic, that you didn't put garlic on the bread, etc., etc. The avatar would allow you to build that customer profile so that that customer was no longer having to ask the questions, but you knew about the customer and that experience was then seamless. It's got memory. It's got accuracy. It's got superior reasoning content. It's an amazing tool. Now, this is not a typical speech or presentation. This is a learning platform. So you'll see that I have given you a lot of copy. If I was doing this live, I would typically only have those headlines and not the copy because I would be talking about the copy. Because I'm trying to give you so much information in a short period of time, that's why these slides are what I refer to as text or context heavy. Because when we're done, you're going to get this deck and you can go back and review it. If it was a stand-up live speech or a typical speech, you wouldn't have those references and it wouldn't be as much as of a learning tool. ChatGPT and 4.5 improve customer engagement since last month, streamline operations since last month, change the way you can optimize your menu from last month, came up with new marketing tools since last month, and advanced features. And you can see below it, once again, a lot of text. But when I make a statement like improve customer experience or engagement, it's become more human-like. It now allows you to have more personalized recommendations. This is the kind of information that I want you to have at your fingertips. And once again, I'm giving you a copy of this presentation, so don't get overwhelmed with all the copy on the screen. Understand that I'm trying to give it to you almost like a mini college course in how to use 4.5. It understands. It'll store your operating procedures, your recipes, your allergy flags, your staff training. It's an internal knowledge manager. Let me say that again. It's an internal knowledge manager. So the more information you give it, the more it can learn and the better it will perform. You can have simulations. You can actually do role play. Let's say that you've had an issue with a customer that didn't think that the meal was up to par or that the service was not what he or she had expected. You can set up a role play within ChatGPT to help train your staff to overcome these hurdles. Where in the past, you would just have to remember it and just have to figure out how we're going to go back and learn from that particular experience. And the best part is it's real-time problem solving. You can put in your schedules. You can put in events. You can also say, my favorite question, what didn't I think of? What's missing? Where are we overspending? Imagine having Mr. Spock, who's a CPA, who knows languages, who's a Michelin chef, who's run restaurants, sitting next to you, answering the questions of what are we
What's
missing?
up?
Where are we overspending?
Did you get a new application?
So, what matters is that you get consistency. It reduces repetitive explanations and it adapts to your business over time. It's trained on your menu. It learns your hours, your locations, any specific details. It can learn your brand voice. You may have a unique customer style. So, for instance, there's a well-known restaurant here in Chicago that has what I refer to as abusive waiters and waitresses. That's their style. That's the way they enjoy the engagement with their customers. Some people may not like that. But now you can understand and your customer can understand what that experience is going to be like. And you can incorporate all of your policies, all of your strategies into your procedure manuals, all using AI and ChatGPT. So open up your computer, go to your ChatGPT. We're going to do this two ways. We're going to do this with you, and then when I'm finished with this presentation, we'll go on and have somebody do it online with us together. Okay? So go to ChatGPT and name afterwards, it says explore GPTs, create a GPT. And a GPT is just a conversation. It's a customized way of telling ChatGPT what you want to do. So for our purposes, we're going to name it, we're going to describe it, we're going to upload the documents. As you're doing this on your own, give it a name because every time you create a GPT, you're going to want to go back to it. So maybe GPT is Chef Boyardee, just for conversation. You're a digital assistant for a family-friendly restaurant in Joliet, Illinois. I'm going to upload my menu, my staff policies. How do you do that? There's a little plus button, and you click the plus button, and you can upload up to 5 documents. Now, in some cases, you have more than 5 documents, then I suggest you open them up, copy and paste into one larger document. So perhaps you've got a procedure manual and then you've got a menu. Open them up, paste them together so that it's 1 instead of 5 if you've got more than 5. If you don't have more than 5, then it doesn't really matter. And then you create the behavioral instructions. How's that for amazing? Always greet users warm and friendly. Prioritize vegan options. Avoid complex words. This is what you would say to your assistant. And then you create your custom GPT. And your custom GPT has now had access to your inventory, has access to your customers, has access to your menu. And so you can ask the questions and have ChatGPT come up with today's special. Actually have it do the wine pairing for you. So let's do it again. Access the creator, create a GPT, configure your assistant, and try the prompts. You may want to take a screenshot of this while you're working on it. I'll leave it up here for just a second, but you're going to go in and create a conversation with Mr. Spock or whatever you've named your assistant. What else can we do? We can use it for the staff. We can use it for marketing. We can use it for the owners. So for the staff, it becomes in essence your training module. We're going to talk about dress code, time off policies, etc. For marketing, it can handle all your social media marketing. It can do your LinkedIn profile. It can create your banners. It can create all kinds of nifty things that you used to have to go and hire somebody else to do, and then train that person on your voice and your brand. It will do all of this. Now, is this going to replace your graphic designer? No. Is this going to replace your copywriter? No. But if you didn't have a graphic designer or a copywriter, it's going to give you a head start. There is a rule to follow with all of this. Trust, but verify. Let me say it again. Trust, but verify. Imagine my friend who's allergic to garlic, to the point that if he has garlic, he needs an EpiPen. It's severe. And the waiter or waitress didn't go check to see if there was garlic in the tomato bisque soup. To me, garlic is in everything, pretty much. I like garlic. In his case, it's a very, very severe reaction. So we cannot be making a mistake with him. Yet there is the human error. AI and your tools will help prevent that. And then for owners, it's an amazing, amazing assistant because you can have private conversations saying, how are these tariffs going to affect me? What happens when the price of eggs goes up and then goes back down again? I was recently on a cruise ship where they do 25,000 meals a day. Can you imagine the inventory management? Can you imagine all of the issues when the price of eggs goes up or something is in short supply? How do they manage it? I can tell you they are using AI for practically everything now, where before it was manual. Again, for your team, for your marketing, for your owner manager, you would ask this kind of a question. Write a Facebook post, summarize our top selling item, and you're going to keep it updated all the time. Think of it as a living system, Mr. Spock, not a one-time setup. And this is where people don't understand how to utilize ChatGPT and AI. It's living, it's dynamic, it's changing as we speak. What you put up last month is already old news. Try to make sure that you're going in and updating it regularly. So once again, create your GPT. This time, I'm going to help you. I'm going to name it the Grill Master Assistant. We're going to go back to who am I? So in this case, I said, I'm a family-owned steakhouse. What do I want it to do? I want it to assist in the marketing staff and the menu strategy. And believe it or not, speak to it nicely. Say please and thank you. It's a language learning model. And I will tell you that if you watch me, my chat GPT comes back and says, I hope you're having a nice day. Did you like my response? Is there anything more? And I start to lose the facade, let's call it, of AI. And I think I'm talking to Mr. Spock. And when he does it right, I tell him. And when he does it wrong, I give him suggestions. Always, always, always add instructions as you would if it's a person sitting next to you. And then you can put in things like we're closed, or we have jazz, or we're having a special with this wine pairing. That's why you need to use it frequently, because it's a dynamic living tool. You can upload files, pretty much anything you want. You can save and test it. You can suggest all of these things, and then you can share the link with other people so that they can access it on either their phones, their tablets, or their desktops. Here's another one. Build a daily prep list, checklist for the kitchen. Look at our inventory. Study what we're doing and give us suggestions. When you start doing this, it will become addictive. Now, I have to admit, I should really create a 12-step program for myself because I start with all intentions of a 8-hour workday or a 10-hour workday, and my workdays run into the 14, 16, 18 hours because I find a new button or a new this or a new that, and I just go down the path to see what it will do for me. I'm not suggesting you follow my time, but I am suggesting that it is a living, breathing, changing tool, and you need to understand how much better it gets every single day. Number one, this is assuming and requiring that you pay the $20 to get the pro version. If you're using the free version, stop right now. 90% of what I've suggested is not going to work. And then people say, well, it's $20. I just hired the best assistant I could ever hire for $20. And it's a month to month. And there's no vacation. And there's no coffee breaks. And no complaining. And no wasted time. It's worth $20. End of conversation. I don't make anything from it. But if you're not spending the $20, this isn't going to work for you. Fair enough? Then try building your GPTs. If you run into a problem, at the end of this, I'm going to give you my contact information. Drop me a note, and I'll help you fix it. I'm not trying to sell you anything. I'm here for those of you that want some assistance. Some of you that just need some, oh, can I do this instead of that? Happy to help out. Some of you others may want more, and we can talk about it. But this is not a sales presentation. This is a, let me see if I can help you in any way presentation. Remember to talk in simple terms as if you're the customer. We specialize in scratch, Midwest comfort food. Wow, I get it. Competitive differentiation. And do it over and over and over. And then, after you've done it, ask what is my favorite question. And you say it like this. Using the above, what am I missing? Using the above, what could I have done differently? Let me explain. When you open up your ChatGPT, which we're going to do in a minute, you want to stay in that same conversation. That's how it learns. It doesn't learn from the library in the same way it learns from the ongoing conversation. The library, it picks up tone, it picks up suggestions, it picks up outputs, but it's not anywhere near as laser focused as the continuing conversation of, hey, you know, I took your advice and we did chicken parmesan, but it didn't sell well. Why do you suppose that is? And it may come up with answers that you hadn't thought about. ChatGPT 4.0 and 4.5. Let me be very clear. 4.0 was there last month. 4.5 is new. 4.5 should not be used as the default because it has a limited number of what they call tokens. You can only ask it so many things, and then it stops and makes you wait because ChatGPT is getting so many people trying to use it that they're now limiting its usage. Where did you learn that? From me. Where did ChatGPT tell you that? They don't. And unfortunately, the way I learned it was 3 o'clock in the morning. I'm on a roll having a conversation, and it goes, you've used up all your tokens. Come back April 15th. First time I'd ever seen it. When did that go into effect? Oh, it went into effect. And so once again, they don't tell you these things. That's why you kind of have to practice with it or drop me a note and ask the question, what's going on? And I'm happy to answer it. So what are we going to do? We can train the staff, right? We can do checklists. We can do inventory management. If it's just these three, if this is all you got out of it, think about how much time you just saved. Think about onboarding somebody that's starting to work with you. How do they get trained? Here, watch this. Here's the output. Here's the Q&A. And then because it's living, breathing, they may point out something that wasn't clear, or they may have a suggestion. I have always found that the person who's at the center of gravity, in this case, it is your chef, it is your waiter or waitress. These are the people that are dealing with it real world. Where if I'm the owner, I don't have that same interaction normally. Start to use it to your advantage. Start to use AI to your advantage. And then start to play with all of the things that it can do. And if on this list is something that I didn't include, try it anyway. This is only a tip of the iceberg kind of conversation. You can do your email marketing. You can review your responses. You can do your SEO and your website. Typically, that took time, that took talent. ChatGPT can do all those things. You can change your menu description. So on the one side, grilled salmon with rice, fresh Atlantic salmon fire grilled to perfection. Which one would you order? Clearly, they're the same product. Clearly, the copy of the second or the after is so much more engaging. When you go to McDonald's, they go, would you like to supersize that? Do you always ask your customer how to upsell? Have you trained your staff in how to upsell without being overbearing or intrusive? If it's suggestions, guests like it. If it sounds like you're just trying to get them to spend more money, they resist. No one likes to be sold to, but everybody likes to buy from. Build trust. As I said, I was on a cruise ship giving a talk, and I had a conversation with the waiter, and I said, every night I'm going to ask you the truth. Even though it's a special, should I order the special or should I take whatever's offered on the menu? And he would present me with my menu, and he'd lean over and he'd go, I tasted the salmon special. I didn't think it was very good. I suggest you stick with this one instead. Now, that's an experience. And he got a great tip at the end of it. And he got a great recommendation at the end of it. Why? Because I asked him for his advice, and then I accepted it. Now, I didn't have to accept it. He didn't have to offer it. That's what ChatGPT is all about. It's going to give you suggestions. Doesn't mean you have to take it. But one of my favorite things it'll do for you is smart pricing. Have it go through your menu and then say, here's my menu. I want you to go to the internet and find my competition, see what they're charging for these products, and make recommendations. And it comes back in many cases that you're undercharging, that you're leaving money on the table. In some cases, it may come back and say, you're overcharging. But it does say that by saying, well, I notice you're offering Prime or they're offering Choice. So once again, make sure that Mr. Spock and you are on the same page having that conversation. Again, a reminder, schedules, communications, performance reviews, all can be done using ChatGPT. Why am I repeating this? Because I want to get it into your head that it's just not a one-trick pony. It's everything that you do in the operation of your restaurant, period. Everything. And here's the good news. These are real case studies. One restaurant had fewer phone interruptions because they were using ChatGPT as the interface. So the ChatGPT would ask questions, not just say, we're putting you on hold, but it engaged. Did you want to make a reservation? Yes. Have you eaten here before? Yes. What is your last name? Feldman. Give me a moment to look it up. Are you James Feldman from Chicago? Yes. And you have the garlic allergy? Yes. Fine. I will let the waiter know. Hello. That's all being done with an AI in real time. Another one had a 3 times increase in engagement. They kept coming back because of the way they were treated and felt like they were an important guest. And then you get feedback. What do you do with the feedback? The feedback allows you to modify what's going on in real time. It's not like you've got the little cards that you filled out and they go in a shoebox. I remember working with a restaurant and I said something, can I see the cards? And he goes, yeah, they're here. I said, where are they? He goes, in the shoeboxes. I went in his office. He had 10 boxes of 10 shoe boxes filled with these cards. He never looked at them. Why? I'm too busy doing other stuff. We randomly pulled cards out of each of the shoe boxes and found same complaint that they didn't see the value of having to spend $30 on a hamburger. Neither did I at the time. We ended up modifying it because we had feedback. He had been told that on the cards, but never looked at the cards. In the case of AI and ChatGPT, it will tell you. So what are we going to do? Number one, we're going to pick a focus. Number two, we're going to try to find things that have worked for other people. So if you've got a problem, ask ChatGPT to go out and find the solutions and use that to modify what's going on with you. And then you got to train the team. And then you got to go back and create the prompt again, because all of these are feedback. Remember, it's a living, breathing type of situation. So the fact that you put it in the first time does not mean that it was perfect. It does not mean that it is going to give you the right answer every time, because things have changed and input has changed. And the future of this, unbelievable. It's going to change the drive-through. It's going to change the communication. It's going to change the personalized experiences. Think about it. When you go through a drive-through, you're talking to someone who's in the kitchen. What if you could talk to the AI instead and have that conversation so that it freed up the person that was in the kitchen? The guy or the lady that's sitting in the car probably doesn't care that they're talking to an AI as long as it gets the order right. So now I have freed up a staff person to work in the kitchen or to be a server or something else, instead of tying them to answering questions at the drive-through. What about your emails? What about your bookings? What kind of follow-up do you have with those? With AI, they could be automatic. By the way, Mr. Feldman, we see you've got a reservation at 6 o'clock. It looks like there's going to be rain. Please bring your umbrella. How cool is that? How cool is it to say, by the way, this street is closed and we've arranged for complimentary parking at this location? Real time, real engagement. And certainly the personalized experience. I love it. On the cruise ship, I kept going back to the same table with the same waiter, even though I could move around. By the second time, the waiter would come over and say, here's your iced tea, unsweetened. And by the way, here's the specials. Here's what I suggest. That became personalized. That became an interaction. And the other people were going, how'd you get him to do that? I said, you got to treat him like a valuable resource, not just an order taker. And as you move into this, let's build things together. And I'm talking about you and AI. Do all these things, try it out, tailor it to your restaurant, try the hands-on implementation, and do it as a pilot program. Try it for a couple weeks, see if it works. If it doesn't, change it. So before I move on, I'm going to ask you for a favor. This is the QR code that will get you the download of the presentation. I ask you a few questions. What'd you think of it? Was it valuable, etc.? There's a point in there where it may say, put in your email or your contact information. Ignore it. You do not have to do that. If you want to do that, that's up to you, but it's not a requirement. So just scan this QR code and enter Illinois restaurant number 2 so that this is distinguished from the first one that I did. And this will give you a PDF flip book of this entire presentation as we move forward. So let me see if there's any questions, and then we're going to go to real time, but you're going to do it. So I'm going to look for a volunteer.
Okay, so I have one question. How much time does it take to program a single entry? And I think by entry they mean a GPT.
I typically say from start to finish, it's less than 5 minutes.
Not bad.
Yeah. And once you've learned how to do it, it's less. It's less.
I also have a
Uh,
question. Sorry.
Sure. Question? Sorry.
Um, so ChatGPT, there's competitors to AI. Go, which is, the SpaceX, it's another tool, and that's also real. Is there a difference if we go one way or the other for the paid version?
The answer is yes. Each of these is trained on a language learning model. Each has its plus and minuses. ChatGPT is clearly the front runner today.
Right.
Behind them is Jasper, Copilot, Gemini, Grok, everybody trying to get on the wagon train, so to speak. I will tell you that I get on and I play with all of them and I keep coming back to ChatGPT. However, in writing a book, I have found that um, Claude is better at writing than ChatGPT. In terms of straight out research, I use Perplexity. But again, it's like, you're in a kitchen. Why do you have multiple knives? Why do you have one knife that's a butcher knife and one knife that's a chef's knife and one knife that's a paring knife? Wouldn't one knife do all those things? Sure. But each tool becomes more laser focused and does one thing more specifically. Did that help answer the question?
It did, thank you.
No problem.
I'm gonna jump in and say someone requested that you put the QR code back up.
Oh, right.
They didn't get a chance to scan it. And then to answer your question in the chat, part one for AI for restaurants is available on our website. If you go to illinoisrestaurants.org, I'll drop that in the chat as well. And then I think we have a question from Bruno. If you want to go ahead.
Yes, I actually have a comment. So while I'm listening to this and I just need to be transparent here, I'm kind of dropping in on this. I don't work directly in the restaurant field, but I work in a business services field that supports restaurants. And I had a question yesterday. I actually led the effort to write an operations manual last year for a new brand that used to be a dealership model. Now we're making it into a franchise model. And so I had a question yesterday from one of the franchisees about, do we have a job description or what we call position guides here at this firm I work at for a route driver? And we don't. So I literally took our 280-page comprehensive operations manual, put it in ChatGPT as Jim, you were talking, and asked it to create this position guide. It spit it out within 30 seconds. And I mean, I haven't had a chance to review it in detail, but it was just like, holy crap. I mean, I've been using ChatGPT a lot, but I mean, I didn't think about it like this until I listened to you talk, Jim. And now I'm going to do one for a shop manager, and it's just like unbelievable. So yeah, talk about working efficiently. Wow.
Now, Bruno, remember what I said. Trust, but verify.
Right, right. Oh yeah. And you know what I've noticed is that I will take an email, a comprehensive email, and then give ChatGPT direct, specific directions of what I want them to do with that email. And it creates usually a masterpiece. But I always, if you have to edit it, you will, I mean, it's the more great information you put into it, the better information you get out of it. And you're right, it learns about what we're doing here.
Here's to your point. You uploaded a 250-page document.
Right.
And it read it in 30 seconds or a minute.
It read it, and now granted, we use ChatGPT a lot to help create that document.
Yes.
So maybe it has some, but yeah, it not only read it, but it spit out a position summary and a key responsibilities and position title. And I'm looking at it right now, it's just qualifications and skills, schedule and work environment, uniform and appearance standards, training and onboarding, performance expectations. It's unbelievable.
I'm gonna deviate for 1 second and put something in the chat for you guys. We won't spend a lot of time on it. It's called AI Playground. And what AI Playground does, Bruno, is it allows you, like Dorina was asking which model to use. This allows you to access 15 different models, 4 at a time. So you could take that same thing and get 4 different opinions and then come up with a summary of the best from each of those 4.
Oh,
Now, it
wow.
doesn't replace ChatGPT, but it uses Llama, it uses Copilot, it uses, and it's amazing to have one question asking 4 different experts, and they all come with 4 different responses, but then you start to see the overlap. And that's what I'm always looking for. I'm looking for where does everybody agree? Well, this driver should be able to lift 50 pounds. Okay, let's put that down. This driver needs to be at least 5'5". So those are the key points. And then you start to move away from it saying, what else would be helpful?
Awesome. Thank you.
So it's called AI Playground. I put it in the chat for you. Okay, any other questions? All right, I'm going to make you guys do the work now. We're going to play together. So here is my ChatGPT. We can see it, correct?
Yes.
Up here at the top, you can see I've pulled down the models. I caution you not to use the 4.5 unless you're doing a very deep dive, because again, it uses up all the tokens. So let's just make this 4 to begin with. What are the main improvements? So let me get rid of that. And somebody tell me, I'm going to click on over here. See Explore GPTs on the far left. Can you see that?
Yes.
Okay. I'm just going to click on it. Ta-da! Those are GPTs already done for you. So you can just look through this for a moment and see if there's something that you wanted. If you go back up here, here's new ones for writing. Here's productivity. Here's research. Here's
May I ask you, Jim, what do
Sir.
you mean, what do you mean with something we would want it? Because I actually was doing that before while I was playing with it a little bit more while you were talking earlier.
So
I was hesitant to click on any of this stuff without knowing, where I'm going here.
So Bruno, these are done for you in essence. So
Okay.
you're not creating it. You're looking at it and saying, well, let me see what they've got for me already instead of you creating your own. Make sense?
Sure.
So I'm always looking for the easy way around. If you go up here, you see my GPTs. I don't have any. Why? Because I don't need to create one. I've learned how to do it within the questions that I ask, if that makes sense.
Okay, so where did you go where did you get to my GPT? Sorry, I turned my head while you were
You can't
uh
turn your head. I'm way too fast.
I know.
So, but let me just back up
Oh,
and
yeah.
okay, see up here
Oh, yeah.
my
Okay.
GPTs. Yeah.
Okay.
You got to remember everybody, you need the plus up here. Must have the plus. And then
I don't have the plus.
then you're not using the paid version.
Oh, I'm using paid version. I know this is through my company, so I don't know. Anyway, okay, I use it a lot. Oh,
You should, when you go under here, click on it, it should tell you which plan you're on.
okay.
See, I've clicked on my face and then it drops down to plan. All right. So who wants to be doing one with me? Let's just say restaurant. Look at this. Here's what I'm saying to you. Before you start using up tokens, look and see if there's something that's already done for you. Look at this. I just put in the word restaurant. Allison, pick one.
Let's do the menu creator.
Okay. Okay, start the chat. See, first of all, it's giving you the ratings. They've had 5,000 people use it. Conversation starters. And this is what it'll do. So you want to use one of theirs, or you want to start something on your own?
I kind of want to see the wine pairing one. Very interesting.
Okay, so since we're here, give me a dish.
Penny vodka. Very cool.
Is that not incredible?
That's amazing. Someone actually asked, what's the difference between the personal and the business versions of the GPT?
Well, typically the business versions, you've got a team and the team can collaborate together so you can share information back and forth where the individual doesn't share. And of course, they charge for it. Um, it's $20 individually, and then you move into, I believe their team is like $200, but it gives you much more in terms of the collaboration side.
Gotcha. Thanks.
Okay, let's play with this for 1 second.
Mhm.
I am the owner of a restaurant in Chicago. What would be the price I should offer the above? Remember, I'm referring to what is the conversation. How cool is this?
That's very cool.
Hi, I have a question.
Certainly.
So what's the difference between going inside the GPTs and asking this question versus directly going to the start a new GPT on the top left corner and typing this question? I'm a restaurant owner and I need a pairing for so and so.
So there's not a lot of difference as long as you're asking the correct question. The advantage of using the ones that are already there is that they have already tested it to ask the right questions. That's the singular difference. So for someone like me who is writing these, all day long, I typically will use my own version. For someone like yourself, respectfully, you're running a restaurant, may not have the time, but you find one that works for you that's already done and it may give you exactly what you need.
Thank you.
Did that answer it for you?
Yes, it did.
Okay, I want to make sure. Let's just continue with this one for a second. And how about this? How about build, if I could type, out the full pairing. So here's what it has done. It has now taken the specific, which was the penny vodka, and it's now talking about in Chicago, these are the 6 things that show up on lots and lots and lots of menus. And that's where it's coming up with it. There's your penny vodka, your spaghetti, your fettuccine. Now, these are new. This is now since 4.5 came out. They've now rolled some of this into the 4.0, where basically they'll say, would you like me to create the menu for you? So let's just do that just to see what happens. Allison, rustic, minimalist, modern.
Let's say, can we say cozy?
Create a cozy menu from the above that I can get as a printable PDF. Now, we all know why we want PDFs, because that locks in the formatting and everything else. Okay. So let me just scroll down. Let's see what happens. So Bruno, a tip for you, my friend, when you're doing this, don't tell your client how fast you're able to do it.
Oh, no, right. No, 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 right, right. No way. And also, I mean, even like you mentioned earlier, I mean, you still, I mean, I have pushed ChatGPT to the point where they have not been able to help me. When I loaded a functional organizational chart, for example, for a client I'm working with, from an Excel spreadsheet to try to create an actual graph with dotted lines, and it just couldn't do it. So I mean, you got to review what it's providing you, and make it be your personal touch. However, as you're talking here, I'm actually customizing my Chat GPT right now. It's asking me, what do I do? What traits should Chat GPT have? I'm giving it traits that I'm looking for.
Right.
Anything else Chat GPT should know about you? And I'm just typing in some information about myself. So it gets to know me more. And, and to your point, I'm very polite to it. I say, good morning, hello, thank you so much. I mean, it's like I'm having a conversation with a really positive, upbeat, friendly person that's just there for you anytime you need them.
Have you named your assistant, Bruno?
No, I was just thinking about that.
Okay. Now here's the other part. You hit a roadblock with ChatGPT.
Right.
Ask ChatGPT to tell you where to go get it fixed.
Oh, yeah, great idea. Okay.
I know the answer to it. You want a particular AI tool called Monkey Key, Key. It's
Okay.
specifically designed to take a lot of data and turn it into graphs and charts.
Well, my
Remember,
graphic designer I would have saved him so much time.
well, remember, there's 600,000 tools out there, my friend. It's out there
Yeah,
somewhere. The trick is
right.
just to find it. So here
Okay.
we go. They've done a download cozy wine pairing. Let's just see what happens. I'm gonna try to open it up for you. Where did it go?
I was gonna say, to answer your question in the chat about will this work for vegan and raw food menus, I believe so. I think this works for any menu.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
We can do that right now, depending on time.
I think we're getting close, so if we look at this, but as he said, Jim said, we'll be sharing his information so you can also reach out. I'm curious to see what this menu looks like.
I had it open. It just went away. Hold on. Cozy wine menu. There we go. Okay, share the screen again. And come back to the share. And it is right here.
Pretty impressive.
Can you see that?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, again, guys, is it beautiful? No. Is it going to work if you're changing your menu every single day? Yeah, you put it in a Canva or something else to make it pretty.
Mm-hmm.
But look how fast it did that.
That's amazing.
You can see why I get addicted to this. Let me
Yeah.
just do this for our person that asked.
Mhm.
Using the above, can you make the pairing for vegan? Was that the question?
Yes, vegan and raw food.
Vegan and raw food.
And we're still on the menu if you want to switch back to those.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Oh, not a problem.
I just get so excited about this, you know, like a little kid. Are we back?
Yes.
Okay, here we go. Jeez.
Wow.
To the person that asked the question, the answer is always going to be yes. Can it do this? Yes. Well, how do I know it can do this? Because we're going to show you. Look what it's doing.
Can you make it bigger?
Make what bigger?
I think maybe the text.
Yes.
Okay, let me zoom in. Is that better?
Yes, I can see.
Okay,
Thank you.
you're welcome.
I've been using ChatGPT for quite some time now. It loops up your mind and it gives the information at the tip of your fingers real time when you need it. It is the best tool out there.
And it's only
That's why I was
one.
asking if if the other ones have any other benefits, because currently I am subscribed to the paid version of the ChatGPT, but I was looking.
Well, there are tools out there that are specific AI tools for a restaurant. And that's a whole nother presentation should you guys want me to do it. I mean, there's hundreds of very laser focused AI tools. Remember, ChatGPT is a general tool, so it does a lot of different things. But so far, it seems to be doing a pretty nice job.
Yes.
So it says, would you like me to create a menu, etc.? What color palette would you like, etc.? And then these buttons, in case you don't know, is you can export it to Google and you can copy it and you can do this. And then up at the top, here's the share button, if you can see my arrow.
Mm-hmm.
So you can copy the link. And let's say I want to copy that and send it to my graphic designer so that they could take it and then make it pretty.
That's perfect. Unfortunately, we're at the end of our time. I know I want to hear more.
I just wanted to say real quick that
Yeah.
I use ChatGPT more so than Google now, or even Siri. And I have the app on my phone, but I don't have a paid subscription. And so I had a conversation with it a couple of weekends ago to the point where it said I reached my, so you can only go so far with it.
Bruno,
But,
you haven't logged it on to your correct account. If you've got a paid version, then make sure that you've logged on using the right email, etc., because it will give you your paid account on your phone.
I have a paid account through my work, and then I just felt like I wanted to keep my thing separate on my phone. So
Sorry.
yeah,
Okay.
gotcha. But I understand what you're saying. Thank you.
Well, thank you, everybody.
Yes, I was going to say thank you to everyone who attended. Thank you so much to our
This
AI
was
expert,
amazing.
Jim Feldman.
This was amazing. Thank you.
Yes, I think this is super helpful. As always, I want to thank the Cook County Small Business Source for their continued support. And then, as we mentioned, after this, you'll receive an email with links to the recording, as well as Jim's contact info. So thank you for everyone who attended. Thank you so much, Jim. Thank you for everyone who spoke. Have a great day.